We got a story here from Zero Hedge with the title, Twitter says it purged dozens of accounts for undermining faith in NATO. That's a quote. So Twitter is now acting on the behalf of NATO. Yeah, all right. All right, Jack Dorsey. So censorship, deplatforming, putting these stupid, silly disclaimers underneath tweets, getting rid of the account of a sitting U.S. president, and now the fact that they're acting on behalf of NATO to remove accounts. Yeah, that's not creepy. Not creepy at all. All right, Twitter has announced it recently suspended dozens of accounts for undermining confidence in NATO. It was part of a broader purge of almost 400 Twitter accounts believed to have ties to Russia, Armenia, and Iran, state actors which were found to have breached its platform manipulation policies, according to Reuters. Here we go again. More of this Russian stuff, but now you have Armenia and Iran. Armenia? What the hell has Armenia done to NATO? And further, Twitter said, according to Reuters, that 100 accounts with Russian ties were removed from amplifying narratives that undermined faith in NATO and targeted the United States and the European Union. Oh my God, these guys are such clowns. Yeah, okay. Those Russian trolls, boy, they really do know how to undermine confidence in NATO, faith in NATO, and the European Union and the US. All right. Let's see here, this tweet from Vincent Bevins. I'm sorry, but what? And it has this taken from the Reuters article, this excerpt. Twitter said 100 accounts with Russian ties were removed for amplifying narratives that undermined faith in NATO and targeted the United States and the European Union. Twitter is acting on the behalf of NATO. Yeah, Twitter is not politically biased. No, not at all. Not at all. You know what this is going to do? More countries are just going to start blocking Twitter, which they should at this point in time. You've deplatformed and removed a sitting U.S. president. You're censoring up the wazoo, and you act like an arm of the Democrat Party. And now you're banning accounts because they're saying bad things about NATO. Supposedly they're saying bad things about NATO. Undermined the faith of NATO. Since when should we ever believe in NATO? I mean, what has NATO gotten right? Syria, Libya, what, Yugoslavia? Tell me one thing that NATO has gotten right in the past 20 years. What is the reason of NATO anyway? What is the reason of NATO at this point? The USSR is done. NATO shouldn't exist anymore. What is the reason? We know what the reason is. Everyone knows what the reason is. But I mean, it's why should we have faith in an institution that has outlived its existence, its reason for being? Why should we have faith in that? Let's see what else this article says. That's right. Amid numerous examples of recent Twitter overreach and Silicon Valley's blatant attempts to crush speech deemed politically inconvenient or out of bounds, this one is arguably the most bizarre and blatant yet. The offending accounts were deemed to have not upheld faith in the NATO military alliance. Did we miss the oath that was supposed to be taken upon setting up an account? Yeah, I don't remember in Twitter's terms having a phrase or a clause that said, I promise not to tweet anything that will undermine the faith of NATO. Some of the accounts appear to have been suspended in prior months, with Twitter now disclosing its fuller investigation, results, and rationale for taking action against the accounts. Here's the official Twitter statement according to its full context. Today, we're disclosing 2 separate networks that have Russian ties. Our first investigation found and removed a network of 69 fake accounts that can be reliably tied to Russian state actors. A number of these accounts amplified narratives that were aligned with the Russian government, while another subset of the network focused on undermining faith in the NATO alliance and its ability. As part of our second investigation in this region, we removed 31 accounts from 2 networks that show signs of being affiliated with the Internet Research Agency and Russian government-linked actors. These accounts amplified narratives that had been previously associated with the IRA and other Russian influence efforts targeting the United States and European Union. Targeting the US and European Union, how are they doing that via tweets? God, get over yourself, Twitter. Tweets are not that powerful. It's not like, I mean, they make it seem like tweets are missiles. It's just so ridiculous. These guys are so full of themselves. But what does it matter if you amplify narratives of the Russian government? Who cares? Amplify narratives of the US government, amplify narratives of the German government, of the Chinese government, of the North Korean government, of the Italian government. What's the problem? What is the problem if an account amplifies something a government said? CNN does it all the time. CNN amplifies all kinds of ridiculous, stupid things like Russiagate, Iraq WMDs. I mean, this is just this, Twitter's lost. Russia should just ban Twitter altogether after a statement like that. In follow-up, reporting by Russia's RT detailing some of the prominent accounts impacted by the ban, it's since been revealed that one of the accounts targeted belonged to the Valdai Discussion Club, a leading Russian think tank. It hosts an annual event in Sochi, which has attracted dignitaries such as ex-Afghan leader Hamid Karzai, one-time Finnish President Tarja Halonen, erstwhile South African President Toby Mbeki, former Italian Prime Ministers Romano Prodi, and China's richest man Jack Ma. Mark Ames has this tweet which says, "This is absolutely effing deranged. Twitter is deleting accounts that undermine faith in NATO. Note that Gordon McMillan, a captain in the UK 77th Brigade Psychological Warfare Division, is a Twitter executive." And the tweet underneath that says, from Lily Lynch, says, "NATO is a military alliance. They don't want anyone to undermine faith in war." Well said. Oh boy. You know what? Let's see. Here's another tweet from Ben Norden. "If it wasn't already clear who Twitter serves, it is now suspending accounts for undermining faith in the NATO alliance and its stability. According to these U.S. government thought police, if you don't support the NATO imperialist cartel, you're a Russian bot." You know what this says? To me, this says that we're inching closer to a big conflict. When they're starting to do this, they're going to start to demonize Russia more and more, and we have trouble now in Armenia. We have trouble in Georgia, in the Caucasus in general. We have trouble being stirred up in Ukraine, and of course, the big prize for these neocon, neoliberal lunatics that are now running the U.S. government is Syria. They want to finish what they started under Obama in Syria, so they're going to set all kinds of fires in and around Russia, and they're going to now ban any type of account that they feel may report news contrary to what they're about to undertake in the Middle East, and most likely in Syria. So this is a bad sign. This is a bad sign. Twitter's latest purge has caught the attention of the Russian government, with Foreign Ministry spokesman Maria Zakharova on Tuesday saying the Kremlin will launch its own investigation. Russia has recently passed legislation opening up U.S. social media companies to fines, sanctions, and even the possibility of being blocked inside Russia should they be found to have engaged in unfair targeting of Russian users or entities. Though it remains largely symbolic, given it's unlikely the Kremlin would outright ban these apps, which remain hugely popular among the Russian population. No, Twitter is not that popular in Russia. Ban it. Go for it, guys. Zakharova, ban it. But by the way, it's very odd because I believe that RT actually runs a big ad budget with Twitter, or they used to run a big ad budget with Twitter. So the fact that Twitter is now taking this position just goes to show that it was money wasted. Russian government money wasted on Twitter. Anyway, guys, that's the video. Take care.